Hi, welcome to day 11 of the morning yoga challenge, and today's theme is hip opening. So we will work for a few poses which will gently open the hips. You might like to have a blanket or some padding to hand. You can just chuck that to the side for now. And we'll start in a seated position. You can bring the palms of your hands to the tops of your knees. We'll start with a few hip rolls. So bringing the torso over the right knee to begin with, and then drawing it across to the left, and then coming back, round through the back, and then come forward again. As you come forward, you can sync your breath with the inhale, and as you come back, the exhale. So we're just moving with our breath, starting with quite slow circles, and if you like, you can start to speed up those circles a little bit. And then we can switch directions. You might feel a few cracks and pops. It's perfectly fine, especially first thing in the morning. And then come back to stillness. So from here we'll make our way down onto the mat. So come down to a lying position. Bring the soles of your feet to the floor. Hands can be down by the side. And we'll lift the left foot up and see if we can cross that left foot across the right knee, flexing the toes in towards the knee to protect the knee here, and start to push open with that left knee. You might be able to start to feel the opening in the hips. Stay here if you like, you can lift the right leg off the floor, maybe interlacing the hands behind the thigh, maybe behind the shin. We'll stay here for 3 rounds of breath. Releasing the feet back down and crossing the legs, and just quickly window wipe the legs side to side. Then come back up to center. This time we'll take to the opposite side, so lifting the right leg up, crossing the ankle over the left knee, keeping the toes flexed in. Start to push open the leg with the right thigh. Then maybe lifting that left foot off the floor, maybe interlacing the fingers behind the thigh or behind the shin or over the shin. These hip opening poses are a really great way to notice whether one side is tighter than the other. We can release the legs back down and cross the legs. We can roll up to a seated position if you like. We'll be making our way into an all-fours position, so however you want to get there. We'll be planting the hands and coming through. We want our shoulders stacked over our wrists and our hips over the knees. And we'll do a little bit for hip mobility now. So draw the navel in and lift the left leg up. Sole of the foot's pointing up. Try and keep your hips relatively level to the floor. So we will be drawing some circles with the knee, but just be careful that you don't end up dumping all your weight into the right side as we do this. So inhale, lifting that leg up, and we'll start to draw circles with the knee, bringing the knee up, out, down. And we switch directions. And bring the knee back down. Check you're happy with your alignment. We'll take it onto the opposite side. So pull the navel in, bring the right leg up. And again, start to draw circles with the knee, bringing the knee up, out, then switching directions. And bringing the knee back down, maybe just releasing the weight off the wrist, coming onto the fingertips. You can just bring the weight so it's forward, so stretch through the tops of the hands. And then coming back up, make your way back into your all fours position. Start to push into the hands here, tuck the toes, lift the knees off the ground and the hips up and back into our downwards dog. We won't be here for very long, this is just kind of transition us into our next pose. If you like, you can start to just waken the hips up by walking the legs back and forth. Our hips should already be quite warm by now, so you might not need to do this too much, but it is quite a nice pose to stretch into the back of the legs. Great. So when you're ready, making sure you have enough room behind you, bring the left leg up, and on the exhale, see if you can bring the knee in towards the nose, round through the back. Then inhale, come back up to a three-legged dog. And then this time we'll bring the knee to the outside or the left elbow. Just hold it here and see if you can plant that foot next to the left hand. So we are moving into a lizard pose here. You can drop the back knee down to the floor if you like to start with. You might even like to grab some padding for the back knee as well. So while we're here, we want to have the toes angled out slightly, maybe about 45 degrees, and you want the leg to be in close to the left arm. You could try shimmying the back knee back if you want to open up a little bit, or you could come onto the ball of the left foot, start to push through the heel. Just notice how that feels. Maybe rocking backwards and forwards, and whichever option you're in. You can even sway side to side slightly. If your hips feel quite open at the moment and nice and warm after those movements, you can even try coming onto the side of the left foot. Bring the right hand in slightly so the right hand stacked over the shoulder. Maybe bring the left hand out to the left thigh. Just open up through the hips, keeping the toes pointing in towards the knee. Don't push yourself too far here, you just want to make gentle movements. If you feel any pain at all, then just come out of the pose. And bring the hands back in, bring the feet back in, tuck the back toes, push into the hands, making sure they're stacked under the shoulders. Lift that front knee up and back into downwards dog. So we'll take that on the opposite side. So this time on the inhale, reaching the right leg up. And we'll just bring the knee towards the nose, round through the back. And then back up for three-legged dog. And this time on the exhale, bring the knee out so it's next to the right elbow. Hold it there. And then see if you can place the foot down on the outside of the right foot. You might need to use a hand to help you get there, that's fine. If you like, you can drop the back knee down, maybe using a towel for padding for the knee. You might also like to shimmy the back foot back to really open up the hips. And again, we can take the same movements here. If it feels good for the hips, maybe lifting the back knee, gently rocking back and forth. Or you can have the knee down, maybe gently just rock side to side. If you've got no pain and your hips are quite open, you can come onto the edge of the right foot. Bring the left hand so it's in line with your shoulder. And the right hand just comes to the thigh, maybe just open up gently there. Then plant that foot back down. Bring the hands so they're back under the shoulders, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and make your way back into our downwards dog. On the exhale, just drop the knees back down, release the hands. You might like to give yourself a little bit of a wrist roll, one direction and the other. Right, so the final pose that I think we've just about got time for is fire leg pose. So I find this pose quite difficult because my hips are quite tight, but just see how you go. You can always use a blanket to put in between the legs here. So we'll start in a seated position, and you want to bring your shins so they're parallel, keeping the toes pointing in. So we'll start with the left leg on the bottom, the right leg on top. So just taking your right leg and placing the ankle over the knee, and you want to try and have the shins so they're parallel. So you can see that I've got quite a big gap in between my knees. Some people will have hardly any gap, some might have a bit more of a gap. And then you can bring the hands behind you, just start to lift up through the chest, and maybe the legs might start to come together. If you feel any pain, if this is too much for you, then you can bring the left leg in slightly and the right leg out in front, so your legs are kind of angled together. And again, you can open up through the chest, or you can start to walk the hands forward, bringing the head down. Still working into the same muscles, so just see how it feels for you. Likewise, if you aren't getting much out of this right now and you want to take it a bit forward, you can bring the hands forward and start to go into a bit of a forward fold. When you're ready to come out of it, supporting the leg, just uncross it. You can bring the legs out in front, maybe shake them out a little bit. And then we'll take it on the opposite side, so the right leg coming in, and then supporting the left leg, placing the ankle on the knee, and trying to line up the shins. Or bringing the left leg in front and having the feet parallel. Just take which option is best for you. And taking the options with the hands, so either pushing through and opening up the chest, or coming forwards into a bit more of a forward fold. You can also put the padding in between the knees. It's not quite big enough for me. And when you're ready, supporting the leg, coming out of it, just bringing the legs out in front, give them a little bit of a shake out. Right. So that's the end of our hip opening sequence. I hope your hips feel quite open and the mobility in them feel quite good now as well. We did do a few intense poses there, so just see how it feels in the body, drink lots of water, and you can do the sequence again at any point to help improve those poses and get further into those poses over time as well. So that's the end of this class, and I hope to see you back tomorrow for day 12, and the theme will be power. Thank you. Namaste.